This is hard to write. I don't know if I want advice or if I just need to be honest with myself and someone else. I've made a lot of mistakes that changed my life, that changed the way people looked at me, the kind you can't take back or explain away. I'm 34 female. I've been married twice. 3 kids from my first marriage. I met my second husband while I was still technically with my first. That relationship was open in theory, but we were a mess. He and I had terrible communication. Everything about us was wrapped in a shared religious trauma background. And I think we just clung to each other because we didn't know what else to do. We had our kids young, and I was exhausted emotionally and physically by the time I started seeing my current husband. I'll call him D. D had just come out of his own failed marriage. He was charismatic, steady, deeply loyal. He didn't push me to leave my marriage, but once I did, he was there. 2 months after D and I started seeing each other, X and I divorced. I wasn't emotionally ready, but I wanted something that felt real and strong, and D gave me that. He was a monogamous person to the core. I agreed to that without knowing what I was agreeing to. I had never actually been alone in my adult life. I didn't know what being emotionally stable even looked like. I craved affirmation constantly and didn't know how to just sit with myself and be okay. That neediness started creeping into everything. I didn't think of it as cheating at first, just talking online because I was bored. What harm would it do? Some part of me thought he was probably doing it too, even though we never really talked about it after our first conversations. I rationalized it, but it didn't stay harmless for long. It became secret accounts, hookups with random men I met online, one-night stands, a lot of them. I lost count, but it was somewhere in the 30s. I confessed early on. When it was still just online, he was devastated. I remember the look on his face. He couldn't understand how I could hurt him like that. He never asked for details, and instead he said he wanted to try to move forward. I thought I could stop, but I didn't. I didn't see the reason to, because he seemed chill. 2 weeks ago, he found everything. I'd fallen asleep and left my phone on the nightstand. I don't know what made him look, but my guess is that he was looking for a while and finally found it. He saw everything. The worst of all, the videos. With at least 4 different men, he saw just how much I'd hidden from him. When I woke up, he was sitting at the foot of the bed with my phone in his hand and a look on his face I'll never forget. He just handed me the phone and said, "You need to leave for a few days." That was D-Day. Since then, I've been staying at my friend's house. When we married, he stepped into a parenting role with my kids that even their dad hadn't always taken, which makes this even harder. But lately, my children complain how he's absent. He doesn't cook every day, so my eldest has to fix the breakfast and lunches for the other 2. He didn't pick up my youngest for piano class on Wednesday, so he missed it. And he doesn't do their laundry, just doing his own. I haven't confronted him because of the state of our relationship at the moment, but if he continues this, he'd soon get a cold reality check. He's too old for this behavior. It's not like I haven't tried to apologize. I've tried to explain that none of those hookups ever meant anything, that I was chasing some validation I didn't know how to give myself. He just said, "You knew what I needed, and you still chose a random man every time." I don't know what I'm doing. I love him, and I know how messed up it sounds to say that after everything I've done. I do. I love this man more than I've ever loved anyone, but I also know I broke him. I became the person who made him feel worthless, and now he's done exactly what I never expected, taking his frustrations out on my children instead of having an adult conversation with me. I think I posted this because I feel like I'm losing him, and I don't know how to fix it. I thought I could love someone enough to become the person they needed, but I never learned how to be that person on my own. And now, I don't know if I'll get the chance to learn with him still around. I'm terrified that I've finally reached the point where sorry doesn't matter, that this isn't something we're going to recover from, and that maybe it shouldn't be. I don't know what to do. Update: it's been just over 2 weeks since D-Day. I moved out the night he found everything on my phone. He told me to leave and I went to stay with a close friend. I packed a small bag and assumed it'd be a couple nights of space while we figured things out. Our 3 kids, from my first marriage, stayed at the house with him temporarily because I didn't want to disrupt their routine. D had been their primary emotional support for the last 1.5 years. He really stepped into a parenting role their dad never fully did. That made everything harder. Soon enough, my oldest told me he wasn't doing anything for them anymore. Meals were microwave stuff. They missed extracurriculars. He stopped driving them to school, etc. The oldest messaged me saying she didn't want to bother him when she needed help with homework because he wasn't in the mood. So after a week of that, I pushed. I told him it wasn't fair to check out on them just because he was angry at me. I said they were still his family too, whether he liked it or not. This is what he signed up for when he married me. He can check out on me, but he cannot do the same for them. I said if he couldn't handle it, he needed to bring them back to me and stop acting like a victim. I didn't not think he'd do that. I was staying in someone else's couch, eating their food because I had no money. Where did he think I have the space for 3 more humans and what I going to feed them? But he didn't think. The next morning, he showed up unannounced at my friend's apartment. Car packed with the kids, their bags, and every piece of their stuff. He rang the bell, handed the kids their backpacks, and started unloading without saying a word. I asked him what the hell he thought he was doing, and he said I wanted them back, so here they are. My friend came outside and tried to mediate, but D was done being calm. He said I was a liar, a manipulator, and a coward. He said I had no business lecturing him about family when I blew ours up for 30 random hookups and a few cheap compliments. Things got heated. We were both yelling. I told him he was punishing the kids to get back at me. He said he was tired of carrying children that weren't his while I was out screwing random men. At one point, he stepped toward me and my friend got between us. A neighbor must have called the cops. When the cops showed up, I tried to explain that I didn't feel safe and that he was being threatening. But it was 2 male officers, and from the second they pulled up, it was like they had already made up their minds. They talked mostly to him. He stayed calm, laid everything out. How I cheated, how I left the house, how I demanded the kids back, and then accused him of being unstable when he followed through. The neighbors backed him up and told the cops he never touched me or got aggressive. Just started yelling when I did. One of the officers pulled me aside and basically said I needed to calm down and stop escalating the situation. He told me if I was serious about custody or anything like that, to take it to court. They left after that and soon Dee did too. Few days after that, I got served with divorce papers. I have no lawyer. I've been out of the workforce for years. My job history is patchy and I never finished college. I've applied for a few admin assistant roles, but nothing's landed yet. Meanwhile, he has a decent job, a clean record, and a better credit score, but he refuses to take care of the kids. He's asking for divorce on grounds of infidelity. We are in an at-fault divorce. He doesn't want custody, not even the weekends. I don't even know if I can push for alimony. We were only married for about 1.5 years. My name's not on the mortgage, so I don't know. I feel really awful. I hate how much I still want him to fix the situation. I will have to figure out how to stand on my own for the first time in years. I haven't done that in a long time, and the simple thought of just starting doing everything on my own terrifies me. I can't even blame anyone anymore. This is all on me, I think.